Now, this entire show is down on the NBA, but we go where the news of the day takes us. And this hour, that would be just across the Brooklyn Bridge. You see, there's a pro bouncy ball team there that has made a big change. Now, you're wondering, what did the Nets do? Did the Nets punish the anti-Semite loving Kyrie Irving? No, of course not. They kept him out there on the court. Instead, maybe they traded Kevin Durant. No, they didn't do that. They made a move to distract from the Komodo dragon in the room. And what is it they did? If you have not heard yet, Brooklyn gave Steve Nash a nice pink slip, ending his tenure as coach in the Flatbush basketball franchise. The Nets, at the time of the move, off to a 2-5 start. Jock Vaughn took over as the interim coach against Chicago. The Nets were leading by 3 going to the fourth quarter, only to allow Zach LaVine to score 20 of his 29 points in the fourth quarter. And good afternoon, good evening, good night. The Bulls trampling the Nets, the running of the Bulls, and they get the victory there. So Kyrie, by the way, the anti-Jew guy, Kyrie, who promoted the video denying the Holocaust on his social media platforms, was shut out for the first 3 quarters of that game. He finished with 4 points. But don't bury the lead, my man. Don't bury the lead. It's the coaching change. And we'll get to the statement heard round the basketball world and everyone pointing their finger and laughing. We'll get to that in a minute. But let's start out with the coaching change. And the question, is it true or false that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are responsible for Steve Nash's demise in Brooklyn? Ding, 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 ding. Yes, that is the gospel. I've got Hanna-Barbera, eyewash, and sunlight. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make some authentic New York pizza. We're going to make more of a Chicago pizza fan. New York pizza's all right. I like the Chicago pizza more. All right, so first of all, Kevin Durant. Say it with me now. Kevin Durant is a coach killer. Kevin Durant, coach killer. He is. He's a coach killer. Don't have to beat around the bush. Durant had a legendary conniption fit this offseason. We documented it on the radio. He demanded to be traded, then requested the Nets franchise be gutted like an Atlantic halibut. And despite his begging, Brooklyn brass stuck to their guns. They refused to pacify Kevin Durant over the summer. Turned out that was just fake bravado. Boy, a lot of patience they have there. The Nets waited 8.5% into the 82-game season, 7 games, which is 8.5% of the NBA regular season, to drop the guillotine on Steve Nash. You also have to give an assist to Kyrie Irving, the killjoy of the NBA, Grumpy McGrump. Irving's substandard play in crunch time mixed with his PR work for anti-Semitic films was the yin to KD's yang in Brooklyn, and these guys were working side by side as the stars. It reminded me of a classic cartoon from Hanna-Barbera, Dick Dastardly. These two guys, both working as Dick Dastardly, KD and Kyrie, aiming to undermine Steve Nash through trickery, devious traps. And it worked. They were able to derail the gig. Now, do I think Steve Nash is a great coach? No. Do I think Steve Nash was a babysitter? Yes. Do I think anyone who's coaching in the NBA is all that important? No, I don't. I don't think most of them are that important. But it worked. The plan of KD and Kyrie as Dick Dastardly, it worked. And we should give an honorable mention to Ben Simmons, who is better at ending up in the tabloids than playing basketball. He is like a rabbit in the headlights at this point, and he's also either really hurt or malingering yet again to miss time there for the Nets as he's out of the lineup. Now, turning the page on that, we mentioned that Jock Vaughn is the interim coach. That gig is not expected to last long. We are told that the Nets are working right now around the clock to cross the T's and dot the I's on a deal to hire disgraced Celtics coach Ime Udoka, a former star coach, right? Everyone loved Ime Udoka last year. Oh, my God, the Celtics were in the NBA Finals. They won a couple games against the Warriors. And then the scandal. He gone. He was put on timeout, but he will not be going back to the Celtics, it would appear. A formal contract is expected to be agreed upon later on today while we're sleeping during the day and should be announced by Wednesday afternoon. So this afternoon, Boston, it sounds like they're willing to let Udoka leave without even getting a draft pick in return. Just here, have him. So what's the lesson if this happens the way we're told it's going to happen and Ime Udoka moves from Boston to Brooklyn after being suspended for the entire season, and then it would seem 10 games or so into this season he'll be back. So this is a refresher course, is what this is. It is a refresher course that one man's garbage is another man's treasure. It's like It's like an episode of American Pickers. If you've ever seen that show, it's an A&E production, History Channel. The Nets traveling to the boondocks of basketball to try to find some rusty gold. And there's a lot of rust on Ime Udoka right now. Udoka is buried in the back of the Celtics outhouse in shame for a little extra hanky-panky with a Celtic underling, having a great time. So I'm sure the ladies with the Nets better be on watch. They might get some quality time with Ime Udoka. You never know. It could happen. So the Celtics are saying, okay, we'll give you this guy. We just take him. We want to get rid of him. Fine. And Brooklyn's like, okay, we're willing to forgive and forget. We'll give Ime a mulligan. We'll give him a mulligan. So thumbs up or thumbs down. Will Ime Udoka be a difference maker for the Nets? And I'm going to go thumbs down. Unless he's got some kind of pixie dust, it's highly unlikely. We imagine that the Grinch and the Grouch, KD and Kyrie, will now actually put some effort in, that Durant and Kyrie will stop rocking the boat for at least a while, a short while. Maybe it'll go all year. But ultimately, we are in the mindset that coaches are the modern-day eyewash, that NBA coaches, let me explain. An NBA coach doesn't matter if you're a championship team. If you have the talent to get to the finals, I could coach that team and pretend like I know what I'm doing and act like I'm calling plays and all that and talk to the media. The players are the ones that are going to get done. On a good championship team, the coach can only get in the way. That's always been my belief. And Brooklyn is not a true title contender. The roster is flawed. Ben Simmons is a Trojan horse. And Kyrie's a cancer. He's a tumor. You've got that on your team. Durant's a good player, but he's also good for a couple of dust-ups a year. All right, final thought. So I want to shift over. The Nets-Bulls game, I want to turn the page on that. So the Nets-Bulls game was featured on TNT, which led to a hearty conversation about the hippopotamus in the room there. Kyrie Irving using his platform to promote an anti-Semitic film, which, among other things, denied that the Holocaust happened, and 6 million or so Jews killed in that. The movie said that did not happen, among other stupidity. Now, the TNT crew went right after it. They actually had more of a reaction than people actually are working at the league office, which tells you about this story. You had Shaquille O'Neal say Kyrie Irving is an idiot, which he is. Charles Barkley went even further, said Kyrie should be suspended for what he did. But I thought what Reggie Miller had to say really resonated here, because Reggie, and I usually rip Reggie Miller, but I thought what he said, it kind of hit a nerve, on a good nerve with me. Reggie Miller put the NBA ball players in a theoretical body bag for their collective silence on Kyrie. And Reggie pointed out that it's the NBA players here. They're the ones that have dropped the ball. Now, the NBA as a league has as well, but the players themselves have. And I'm paraphrasing this, but he said, Reggie Miller, that the players should stand up and call for punishment for Kyrie Irving in the same way they did for Suns owner Robert Sarver. Has LeBron issued a statement on this? Nothing from LeBron? No, it's not an issue that he doesn't care about the Jews. Okay, so LeBron's good on that. Nothing to say on that issue. What about some of these other NBA ball players that have a lot to say about every nothing? So why haven't the NBA players condemned Kyrie Irving? So there's only two reasons I could come up with. Either they agree with Kyrie in that video and they think that all that stuff, the nonsense is true, or they don't care. right? Pick your poison, right? Pick your poison. The silence has been deafening from the NBA community. It was really mortifying, and it was like a skit. It was like satire for both the NBA and the NBA Players Association. In fact, I had to do a double check. I thought it was like Sports Talk Barry or one of the other parody social media accounts that's out there when I saw the statement, because both issued statements, the NBA and the NBAPA. In fact, the NBAPA just did it on Tuesday. They issued statements condemning anti-Semitism. Neither one of them had the balls to put Kyrie Irving's name in the statement, which it was obviously sent out because of him, but they didn't have the intestinal fortitude to put his name in there. Right? Say his name! I've heard that a lot over the years. Say his name. Kyrie Irving is the vice president of the NBA Players Association. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they didn't include Kyrie Irving's name here, which makes this even more absurd. The NBA as a business drowned a couple years ago when the COVID thing happened, the summer of 2020, in a sea of woke slogans on uniforms and on the court. And the NBA made sure that every man, woman, and child that was involved in their product knew. They wanted everyone in the world to know that they were on the moral high ground. They were. When it comes to social issues, when it comes to racial issues, they had all the answers, right? They had all the answers. And now, here it is, just a couple years later, and they've decided so far to sit this one out. These social justice warriors, right? They're warriors. And they want to tell you how to think. They want to tell you who to vote for, when to vote, and how to vote, all that, and how to live your life. But they have no opinion when one of their own, Kyrie Irving, a player in the association there, promotes an anti-Semitic dogma movie to the masses. Suddenly, diversity is not that big a deal. They don't care anymore. They just want to shut up and dribble. It's convenient how that works, but we have a lot of mindless morons. I normally wouldn't care about this kind of thing, but I had a buddy of mine who told me there's like the two things that have popped up recently with Kanye and his shtick. Like a week ago, I guess it was a week ago, 10 days, something like that, 10 days ago. Kanye West and now Kyrie. And so there's a lot of young guys that are really stupid, morons, mindless morons who worship celebrities like Kyrie and Kanye West, and they just blindly repeat whatever bullcrap people like that say, which is unfortunate. I wish people weren't like that, but there's a lot more followers than leaders, right? It's a lot more betas than alphas. That's just the way the world is. And for the NBA in general, these are stormy times. The product is not good on the court, and now off the court, they're screwing this up also. So next time there's a big social issue, and there'll be something else that happens. I mean, every year something happens which leads to people getting all worked up, and something happens that shouldn't happen. And is the NBA going to react the way they did in 2020 or the way they did right now with Kyrie Irving? They're going to sit this one out? And pro bouncy ball is filled with frauds. And this Kyrie Irving story, it added sunlight. A vampire with sunlight, how that works out? Well, yeah. A lot of vampires in the NBA seeing sunlight when it comes to this issue. And I wonder what percentage of NBA players are anti-Semitic. I really want. I'm curious. It seems like there's a lot of them that seem pretty okay with it. But, it's just what I'm seeing. My experience.